movies. From the executive producers of Homicide, Life on the Street, Academy Award winner Barry Levinson, and Emmy Award winner Tom Fontana.
Even if you're in here till you die, your life can have some purpose.
Ain't that my cigarette hanging off the tip of your lip?
He killed them, carved them up, and he ate them.
Oz, the complete first season now on VHS and DVD. Plus, the DVD is loaded with extras.
Welcome to episode, I think, 3 of TV Beats. I think in the last video that I posted, I kind of mentioned that I was going to do something from a show that I really enjoy from like the 80s, 90s. I kind of diverted from that. I'm still going to do that show. I'm not going to say what it is yet because I don't want to give it away. But what I am going to do this week is I already made a beat. So I'm kind of going to change the format a little bit and not really go through the beat making process. I'm going to just break down a beat that I made from a TV show theme song. And the beat that I'm going to do is, the beat that I'm going to break down, rather, was a suggestion from my nephew. Shout out to Mark. He sent me a YouTube clip of the intro to this show, and it's a show that, it has 6 seasons on HBO. It's called Oz. It was, to me, one of the first shows that was like that gritty and was that raw and was that just crazy. Had characters that developed over time and went from like one extreme to the other over the 6 seasons that it was on. It also it was just crazy, man. It was just a crazy show. It was, I guess, around the time of The Wire, but not like, it was like I think it was, so if I'm not mistaken, HBO had a sort of precursor show to The Wire that wasn't The Wire, but it was about Baltimore. I can't remember what it was called now, but it was kind of like The Wire, but it wasn't The Wire. And then I think Oz came along, and then I think The Wire came along. And I think, I kind of put it in this realm of being like a beginning to like the TV renaissance, right? Because everything was done in film most of the time back then. Most of the best or better writers were writing for films. There was a surge of writers writing for TV at a certain point, and I think it was like due to a strike or due to something. I can't remember what it was, but a lot of people in film started writing for TV at some point. I think that was after this, but I will say, just as far as the tone of this show, Oz, the tone of shows like The Wire, the tone of shows like The Sopranos, like those were sort of like the beginning of this sort of TV show renaissance of like, we're making shows that are gritty, dramatic, and really, giving a lens into different lifestyles and things that people do. I got it playing in the background over here. Just has some background, but the intro to it. Let me see. I don't know if this might already be pitched up, but actually no. This is what I'll do. All right. The intro sounds like this. I stopped it just to, you get the idea. I took and did some chops. I did some chops to the intro music, and I came up with like that. That's it. Tuned up a bit. This is tuned down. That's tuned down 4 semitone, 4 octaves rather. That's 3, and I kind of liked where 3 was, so I got some other pieces. That's down 6. That's down 3. That's down 3. That's down 3. And then came up with some patterns that I thought were kind of cool. So actually I came up with one pattern, and that one pattern has like some accompanying things where I did some layering, so I'll get into that in a second. But this was the pattern that I came up with, and this is at 80 BPMs, like 80 and a half. So that was kind of cool. Like I was like, I'm gonna take this I'm gonna take this to a place that it's not expected, I guess, right? So I kind of just did stabs for the different chops. So just making it a little bit more energetic, but in a different way, because it's not like that intro music doesn't lack energy, right? It does, it has energy, but I wanted to make it a little bit more staccato, and just kind of again, like sort of hip hop it out a bit, but do some stuff with it that leaves me some room for some drums and bass and stuff like that. So then played around with some of the drum kits that I have loaded up from Native Instruments, and got this stuff. So this I didn't use. Of course, I'm not using all of that, but I just liked the bass drum, like the basic samples that are in this pack. Right. You got a nice heavy 808 kick type drum there. Another one that's all distorted. I don't really like the distorted drum so much, but that one's solid too. And then like a snappy snare. This one I like. Nice, like active feeling hi-hat. So we got to this drum pattern. let's just marry those up. Show you what that sounds like. Well, first, let me do this so you can get a refresher. So that has a cool little bop, a little groove, right? From there, I had those other sample chops and stabs, and I just recently saw a video that was on Instagram, and I follow a lot of accounts on Instagrams that are like, let's break down this song and how the producer used the sample or used the samples, right? And what I noticed, well, not what I noticed because I knew this existed and I knew people did it a lot, but there's songs that I love from my era of hip hop growing up, right? Like from the early to early 90s to the like mid 2000s, right? um, that are layered in their sampling, right? It might be just this one piece from one song, and then another piece from another song, and another piece from another song. The Bomb Squad with Public Enemy is very famous for this style of production. Um, a lot of people did it more so in like the 80s and 90s. It kind of waned off in the 2000s with people layering so much, and it got to kind of what I usually do and what I kind of taught myself to do, which is taking one song and chopping pieces of it and rearranging those pieces, as opposed to taking the really intensive amount of time that it takes to listen to one song, take a piece, listen to another song on another record, take a piece from that, take a piece from here, take a piece from there, like taking pieces from all these different places and making something that is cohesive, is kind of a lost art in a way. um, I didn't do that completely here, but what I did was I took pieces from this piece of music and layered them on top of the pattern that I initially made, so that I had another piece that would sort of be like a hook or an intro, like just another pattern that um, had a little bit more musicality in it, and enhanced it a little bit. So I took the chops, these extra chops that I had, and mind you, all of this is done with like six chops, right? Like there's just six little pieces. Another thing that sometimes gets to be a lost art in today's sampling is a lot of times we have fallen into just looping and not chopping so much, and not chopping smaller pieces, but chopping bigger chunks, like whole measures of a melody or whatever, and looping that, or just doing looping it, but maybe gating it or doing different things to manipulate the sound so that it doesn't sound exactly like it did in the original piece of music. But that's also a thing that people did, and this maybe was, all the way back from the beginning of sampling up until, maybe the mid 2000s, when people would really just take one tiny little piece. Um, I do it sometimes, and that's why you kind of get this stabby um, way about this, and I can layer it more and stuff like that. But keeping it a little bit more sparse so that you have more room for vocals, room for layering and stuff like that, room for adding different drum sounds, adding bass lines, adding accompanying instruments, and all that other kind of stuff. You kind of can do that more easily and not sound so cluttered in your final mix if you chop smaller pieces, um, and leave some air, right? Leave some air in your sequences. So I'll get into now what I did to add accompanying instruments. So we'll start with the bass line. So this is what we had initially. And then here. So you see how that kind of like added something to the original pattern so that you didn't feel like you were getting so like um repetitive, right? And I could do it more. I just for demonstration purposes, I have those two patterns. And now just show you what it sounds like when you put all of that together. So I mean, that's basically it for that one. I mean, and that's what you can do, right? Just another example of like a different way of sampling, a different way of doing what we do um, in hip hop. Like we take things and we make them something different. So we started out here. And then we went here. So that's it. For this episode, we took the Oz intro music and turned it into a little bit of a bop. Um, Thanks again for watching. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your likes. Like and subscribe. Share the videos. Hopefully these are entertaining. Hopefully, you think they're cool. Even if you don't like the music that I make, if you don't like the beats, how they end up, because I personally don't like them all the way that they end up. Um, oh, my light just went out. But they're still fun, right? I'm gonna have fun with it regardless. And not the purpose of these videos isn't really me trying to flex and say that I make the best beats or show that I make the best beats. I don't. I know I don't. I make some cool stuff. I make some stuff that's trash to me. I make some stuff that's not trash to a lot of people. I make some stuff that I may hate it, but other people may love it. That's the beauty of art. We're always going to be our worst critics, and I encourage everybody, no matter what your artistic expression is, share it, because somebody will appreciate it. Because there's a lot of people who can't do what you do. So with that being said, man, leave a like, leave a dislike, leave a comment that you hate this, leave a comment that you love this. Tell me the beat is trash. Tell me what you would change about the beat. Tell me what you would have done. Tell me what you would do differently. Give me suggestions for TV show theme songs that you would like for me to flip. But yeah, I have a link in my bio to my Etsy shop. Some t-shirts are there, some hoodies are there. I also have in that same link my BeatStars page. There's some beats for lease on there. Of course, you can always reach out to me via Instagram, via email, wherever. Like, I think all of that stuff is somewhere in the different links and bios and things that I have. If you would like to work on something, if you want to buy a beat, if you want to lease a beat, whatever it is, I'm always available. I'm always open to working and doing stuff. So, again, many appreciative hearts and stars and all those things. I think I just want to continue to keep doing this and continue to try to grow it and continue to just try to share, because the objective here is to share. The objective here is to just put talents on display. And talents don't always mean that you're gonna make the greatest thing in that moment. People draw, right? People paint, and they have erasers. They have white acrylic that they can paint over a canvas. You know what I'm saying? They may have turpentine if they have to clear off oil from their canvas. Whatever it is, right? You can start and you can make something, and you may make something that you hate, and you got to start over. My point with this is, a lot of times I just want to show the process and show that no matter what, I'm going to continue to be doing this, because I've said in other videos, I've said on Instagram, I've said on Twitter, probably, I've said in a lot of places, I've barely ever made a dime, but I've put in thousands and thousands of dollars of my own money, but also thousands and thousands of hours of time into doing this. And it's one of my passions in life, and it doesn't have to be lucrative for me to continue to do it. I'm gonna be doing this forever. So again, thank you. Thank you for viewing. Like and subscribe to the channel for more. And yeah, let me know what other shows you want me to do. But yeah, man, peace. And love is love.